Good morning, good evening. Welcome to this week's live chat. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, all those good things. In this week's chat, I wanted to talk to you about scheduling your live streams, and whether do you even need to or not, because it's actually optional. Believe it or not, it is actually optional. But should it be optional? So we're going to dig deep into that. And have a great chat, as we always do here on these live chats. But firstly, I want to have a good morning or good evening, I should say, to Livestream consultants. So great to see you. Thank you for joining in. Dimi Hart is here. Amazing Yacht Destinations is up bright and early in Thailand. Hello Rapid Repair is here. And Florida Manufactured Home Living, Russell, is here. Thank you, Russell. I appreciate you letting me know. Just because it worked yesterday doesn't mean it works today. And things happen, things get updated, and I've been playing with all the buttons because I've been adding in some extra things. Good morning or good evening to Wise Man Fanboy. Great to see you in the chat. So, you know, it's one of these things that just even seasoned live streamers have issues. You know, it just happens. It just happens. That's what happens when you go live. Good morning to Woodstead Creative, and hello to you as well, Little Crafty Nook. So good to see you all. So let's just jump into our first point. So scheduling our live streams is optional. It really is. Like you can just literally just click go live, and there are some times when that is amazing. So if you're out an event and something is happening and you want to share that live and you have the ability for live streaming from your phone, that is a great thing. Or if some breaking news drops and you just want to jump in and go live, that is awesome. But if you have a regular show, or if you have a semi-regular time slot. Sorry, it is cold here this morning and my brain is not functioning, okay? I woke up this morning and it was 5 degrees, or 4 degrees it was when I first woke up. 4 degrees, which I Googled it, and that is 39 F. That's cold. That's cold here. I don't know if it's cold for you, but it is definitely cold for me. So I literally have a little blanket. I have hot tea. I have a hoodie just in case the blanket's not enough. It's cold. All right, so if you have a show that has a regular time slot like this one, which for me is 9 a.m. Monday morning, or if you're over on the other side of the world, it'll be Sunday evening at some time. I think 7 Eastern is what we aim for. And so having a regular time slot really helps, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't still schedule your stream. Because having a regular time slot helps those people that have been there before. It doesn't help the people that don't know you exist, or it doesn't help the people that are just getting used to you. So having the regular time slot is super helpful, which is why I do it. It also gets me into a routine. So now this is just part of my week. It's part of my family's week. My husband just instantly knows, oh yeah, I know not to ring because you'll be live streaming. I'm just going to double check. Okay, my phone's on Do Not Disturb. Every now and again, my phone's on Do Not Disturb and I still get calls. I'd like to complain to Google about that. Thanks very much. But having that regular time makes it so you can prepare and you can be, it can be part of your regular routine. So it is, you know, you just have to sort of, oh, I'm like, what's going on? There's a dog trying to steal the blanket from, excuse me, that's my blanket. It's my blanket. Would you like to see Louis in his pajamas? Here we go. Louis's got his pajamas on because he's cold too. There you go, everybody. This is Louis. Louis is the dog who barks through the live streams. He doesn't care if we have a regular live stream slot. And he was literally trying to steal the blanket off my lap. I thought dogs were supposed to be our friends. Anyway, sidetracked because little dog was cold and was trying to steal my blanket. So having our regular time slot makes it so we can all adjust, and that is me as the creator, but also you as the viewer. You know it's going to be the same bat time, same bat station unless something happens or a time zone shifts or something like that. I made a decision a little while back that I will keep on the same time for me, and it may change for some of you when the clocks change. What it boiled down to is I don't want to stream at 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, ever. If I can avoid it. Not when I'm on like an Aussie clock. So Jerry Papa Andreas is here. Good morning, good evening, how are you? He is a sweet doggy and he knows it, absolutely. Let's have a look here. I saw something before. Oh, Dimmy Hart says it's 20 here in Sweden. Yeah, I'm expecting a high of about 20 today. So I'm okay with that. Like, it'll warm up, and it won't take long to warm up. Like, it was after an hour, it had already jumped up to 7 degrees, but it's still cold. It's still cold. I totally agree. Sorry, I'm reading 2 comments at the same. I totally look forward to your stream at its set time. That's awesome. I'm glad that it works for you. Amazing Yacht Destination says, I can say from experience, it helps me to see that the streamer will be online and organized that I can view. Yeah, and that's another big thing, isn't it? So we've talked about like some of the whys. Now the advantages are, 1, it's sitting there, ready in your live stream tab on your channel. And if you're like me, you have chosen to show upcoming live streams on your homepage. Use one of the precious 11 or 12 slots that we are given for our home pages, and I use one for upcoming and one for current lives. And I understand that not everybody who is on YouTube and has created channels goes live regularly. So having those slots taken up permanently, it may not be the best option, but you can adjust it temporarily as well. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. So you can go into your channel and remove one of your playlists, add in an upcoming live and a live now, and we'll remove 2 of your playlists and have those 2 in there. And then once your live is over, you can bring your playlist back in. It's a little bit of jiggery pokery, but sometimes it's worth it. For me, I've always got those slots available because this is a live streaming channel. I go live regularly, so I don't want to be having to juggle live streams, playlists all the time. So it is definitely a way to, an option to look at. And so that when people come to your channel page, it's right there. It's right at the top, forefront. You're going to be going live at this time, and it shows your viewers local time. So you get to see what time it'll be live for you. You don't have to do the math. You can just jump in and look. Let's have a look here. Lots of weather chat here. Doug says it's 16 right now for him. Let me just check. We're not quite in the same region. I got 15, but yes, it is definitely warming up. It's definitely warm. It's still cold, and my house is cold. Yeah, that's right. No shenanigans. Doug is in the house. That's exactly right. Incoming swinging hammer. I'm just going to have a sip of my warm tea because I'm a baby and it's cold. Now, so one thing is that your audience can, don't you hate it when you can feel something like a thread or something on your face? Anyway, I can't ignore it. I'm very sorry. I wish I could, but when things are touching my face, it's one of those things that just really, I can't ignore it. So the advantages of it are that your audience can see that it's coming. So if you have it pre-scheduled, you have it up on your channel, you can see, oh, please, Jerry, don't clip this. You can see that, that it is coming, that they will be going live. You can plan if it's, especially if it's somebody who doesn't stream all the time and you really want to be involved in their live chat and they have pre-scheduled, you can add it to your Google Calendar so you don't miss it. You don't have to rely on YouTube reminding you, because we all know that that is not YouTube's strong suit in reminding every single person who actually wants the live stream. So adding it into your own calendar makes it easier as well. So having that level of visibility, I think, is a really big advantage, so that you can be prepared, so that your audience can be prepared. But when you schedule, it also means that you as the streamer can be prepared. So I'll go into that into a second. Good morning, Michael Sahovsky. It's great to see you. The dynamic duo. Yeah. I think Doug is, I think at this time of the day, he's normally, I think he's on his way to work or getting ready for work or something like that for his regular 9 to 5. So how is it that scheduling could prepare a streamer? So for a start, you had to schedule it. So you had to know when you were planning on doing it. So oh, Doug's working from home today. That is awesome. That is awesome. So Doug can work with a blankie on his lap too. Sorry. So what? I'll start that thought again. So when we schedule something, we're preparing. We know when it's going to be. But that also means that when you schedule it, you have the option to upload a thumbnail. Now again, option. So you don't have to if you don't want to, but I highly recommend that you do. If you are pre-scheduling a stream, having a really good thumbnail that describes what the stream is going to be about. I think my stream today was pretty clear that it was going to be about scheduling live streams. Let me know in the chat if you have any ambiguity based over my thumbnail or my title on today's stream. I'm always open to feedback. Thumbnails and titles are actually not my strong suit. So one of the reasons that I make sure I do them every single time is for me to get practice as well. So they are not my strength. My strength is live streaming, moderating, helping people with their channels, understanding the back-end analytics and learning about YouTube itself. They're my strengths, not thumbnails and titles, unfortunately, because YouTube is a thumbnails and titles game. So I've just got to keep practicing and getting better at those things. But let me know in the chat if you felt that today's thumbnail and title and that I'm delivering on those, because that is what you want, isn't it? You don't want to create a thumbnail and a title for your live stream and then actually not cover what you talked about. Now, sometimes something happens, right? Sometimes stuff happens and the whole live stream is changed at the last minute. That can happen. But generally speaking, when you're making your plan and nothing gets derailed, which it totally can happen all the time, your thumbnail and title need to suit what your plan is. The other advantage is, other than preparing a thumbnail and title, which actually I'm getting some comments here. Let me have a look here. Jerry says, for the title, putting or instead of but might be slightly more impactful. Oh, good point. Good point. I think it's because I'm Australian. We use the word but a lot. And I don't have a predominantly Australian audience. So that is an excellent point. And I will try that one as well. Or instead of but. Yep. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate the feedback. I put up a thumbnail of all the supplies I'll be using to make my cards. And then after the live and the cards are made, I take a pic and change the thumbnail then. That's an excellent thing to do. And I do that over on my craft channel sometimes, because especially if you're creating something in a live, like you are and like I do over there, sometimes you can't create the perfect thumbnail because it's not made yet. So I love that you're putting the photo of the supplies and what you're planning to make. I think that is great. Russell says, I don't think the thumbnail adequately expresses the breadth of experience the audience has in these streams. I'm not sure what you mean, Russell. I don't think the thumbnail adequately expresses the breadth of experience. if you could, like, it is early for me and I'm only barely caffeinated. So if you could please write, try and reword it so maybe dumb me can understand it, because I'm not quite sure I get what you mean there, and I really do want to understand. Oh, you figured it was a cultural usage? It is. And this is something I have to remember as well, is that my cultural usage of language is sometimes distracting. Like, I think I said jiggery pokery, and someone was like, is that an Australian thing? For me, I think that's a UK thing, and I got it from Doctor Who. So, yeah. That is definitely one of those things. Home Rapid Repair says, I follow several wise copywriters on Twitter X. My hopes, their wisdom will help me with title writing. Yes. Yes, that is definitely my hope also. SMA's Sky is here. Add to broadcast. Oh, sorry. I'm like, why did I say that out loud? I don't even know. This is where my brain's at. I drive in traffic, and as I'm going through a light, I let myself know, because there's a section where there's like a million traffic lights. Well, it's not a million. And I'm like, okay, this one's green, this one's green, this one's green, that one's red. And I actually say it out loud. My daughter thinks it's the weirdest thing. Anyway, SMA Sky says, I don't usually schedule my live streams ahead of time. When I do live streams of the moon or the sun, I usually take a photo of it before going live and use that as my thumbnail. And see, I can see why you wouldn't always schedule your live streams, because your live streams are dependent on whether or not you've got clear skies. So you have to, it's not just up to you, it's up to weather, which I don't know how your brain, like for me, I really need to schedule, and not being able to do something just because of the weather would really stress me out. So I really appreciate that you are doing this. And I love that you just grabbed that photo, because you technically, like, you're like, okay, I'm going to stream in 5 minutes, and you still technically schedule it for 5 minutes time, but you don't schedule it in advance. And we'll have a little talk about the different lengths of time to schedule before shortly. Yeah, great googly moogly. That's another good one, isn't it? Oh yeah, the SMA Sky says that's where they know jiggery pokery from as well. Yeah. The Clay Allen Chronicles is in the chat. May get a distraction, but I'm here. That is awesome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. It's a timey-wimey thing. There we go. See, we're all Doctor Who fans here. Absolutely. Jerry says, I don't see there is any downside to scheduling a live stream ahead of time within a couple of days. Yeah. So I agree with you. I personally love it when a streamer gives us a couple of days notice. Like, I like 3 days. I think 3 days is really good if you can do 3 days. I try to schedule my streams for now on my Saturday morning, so it's Monday morning here for me now. So that's 2 days. I should probably aim to have them up by the Friday, and then I wouldn't get stuck in the weekend. And that's an excellent point. And if you give people 3 days notice of your live streams, like especially new people, they can be like, oh, but also 3 days is not that point where like, oh, that's next week, where they can dismiss it. So you don't want to schedule too far in advance. And if you're a regular streamer, I don't think having multiple upcoming streams is a good idea. It can be distracting. So schedule the next one when the other one is over, or maybe have 2 if there's a special event coming up. So it's definitely, and it's definitely one of these things where it is sometimes things change because a special situation has arisen, and we need to be fluid. We need to be able to jump and sway when the need arises. So having that ability to be a little bit flexible is super helpful. But if definitely streaming, this is happening, there's nothing to stop you from writing a schedule. Home Rapid Prepare says it's nice to schedule it in StreamYard so the comments can be pulled in. Absolutely, it's super helpful. Doug, yeah, I was. Doug says here, Chantelle was a bit concerned that I hadn't scheduled my stream as early as I usually do on a Saturday. I was concerned, yes. I was like, are you streaming tonight? Because I've got to prepare too. I need to, have coffee and things. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, sorry. That's an absolute thing, because that would get people in that little bit early. Because the other thing to remember is YouTube can take a little bit of time to get you sorted. If you can do 30 minutes, or even 35 minutes, YouTube actually send out a 30-minute before the live is happening notification to those that are actually going to get one. So if you can push that out to 35 minutes, so you're all set up with 5 minutes to spare for YouTube system to send it out 30 minutes before the stream, that's actually super helpful. So if you can, but I 100% understand if you can't. Roberto mentioned on Twitter not long ago he scheduled like 2 months ahead of live streams and he lost subs as people received too many notifications. Yeah, and it can be overwhelming. You have to balance the overwhelm versus preparedness. So like I could easily go in and schedule out the next 10 of these live streams. They could be scheduled. They may not have thumbnails, they may not have titles yet, but I could schedule the time. But and I'll get into that in a second, because I do know some people don't create individual thumbnails for their live streams and they don't title them, and that's actually not a bad thing. It's totally fine. It's just another way to do something. So we'll go into that one shortly. Livestream consultant says, when I go to drone things, I let my following know I'll be going live randomly on X day at X time-ish and to keep an eye open for notifications. Yeah, especially if you've got to be, you know, like if you sometimes you need to be fluid. It could be weather, it could be wind, it could be the situation. You could be standing there and all of a sudden music starts blaring. You don't want that in your live stream. So yeah, hey, basketball training Ozwoosh. The topic reminds me of the song by Supertramp, but I think it was called Streamer. Yes. He did that once. Oh, and me as well. I was just like, what is going on? I actually thought it was a glitch to start with, but it was not. Yeah, there is a 30-minute warning. So if you can, if at all possible, and I know it's not always possible, especially for USMA Sky, if it is at all possible, if you could set that up 35 minutes beforehand to get that little bonus, and it may make no difference, but it might be the difference, but for an extra couple of people in your chat. Let's have a look here. Yeah. All right. I'm going to have another sip of my drink. So is this all making sense? Am I making sense? Are my sentences working? I'm cold. My brain is frozen. He recently said he's cooling with videos and going all in on live streaming. Look, I'm okay with going all in on live streaming. I think especially with someone like Roberto, who's built a really large audience already, and he gets a lot of people showing up in his lives. But if you are if you're a new channel and you don't really have a massive following yet on either another channel or coming from somewhere else, going all in on live streaming may not work for you. I mean, I'm kind of doing it here and you can see the slow channel growth that's happening. It's still every week, there's still improvements and there's still additions and it's still growing. It's not stalling, it is growing. But if I made more video on demand, more searchable content, that would actually work better in my favor. But that involves me, you know, recording my face. Let's have a look here. Livestream consultant says you're 95% there. I think you just need a coffee. I possibly do. And then I went and made tea because I didn't want a big giant coffee like this, and I've already had a coffee this morning. So oops. That, you know, it's just one of those things. But speaking of coffees, let's jump in here. I'm going to pop up my little buy me a coffee icon there. I do have I was channeling my inner Karen this morning, like legal minded with Karen, and I remembered to pin. Oh, Larry says, oops, oh, that's not locked. Let's not do that again. Larry says, thank you for the YouTube live streaming education. And now I just need to lock that because I don't want to accidentally do that again. So we've got a coffee song.
Yes, it's coffee time. Coffee Coffee, 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 coffee. Cappuccino. Java. Yes.
I'm gonna just move that over because it was not quite. It wasn't quite all there, was it? Let's just bring it over just a little. All right. Thank you so much, Larry, which is Home Rapid Repair. I appreciate you throwing coffee my way. I will take a sip of my tea in, deference to the coffee. But while we're pausing, what I want to also do is I want to talk about the amazing people here in this chat that are supporting me over on my new Buy Me a Coffee memberships. So let's have a little. I may have made this a bit loud, so let me know. Okay, be prepared. It's going to have music, so be prepared. So I want to thank Livestreaming Consultants for being a Cold Brew level member, and both Doug Hewson and Amazing Yacht Destinations for being Espresso members. I should learn how to say the word if I'm going to use it. Massive thank you to both of those, all three of you, sorry, not both, all three of you for supporting me regularly by joining my memberships over on Buy Me a Coffee. So thank you very much. Was that too loud? Was it too loud? I can probably fix it if it is. Maybe. I don't know. But over there we also have a channel, they're called my brain is just like, we've got the lions and tigers and bears. So we also have the cold brew, the espresso and the whole bean, but we also have lions and tigers and bears. And the lions and tigers and bears are like nearly they're community sponsors. So it's the next level up. So if any of you want to do that, just to give me an excuse to go lions and tigers and bears, oh my, I'm really looking forward to being able to do that. So sometimes I just do things for my own reasons. There's no other reason to have lions and tigers and bears. I just needed 3 things that would be easy for me to say and have fun with, and that's what jumped into my brain. That actually says a lot about me. Okay, so back to the topic at hand. Amazing Yacht Destination says, as a viewer, I think 24 to 12 hours before the stream is the best. I see it and it's fresh of mind. More 24 hours, I seem to forget that I wanted to watch the stream. Now, that can absolutely happen. And you are 100% right. That can absolutely happen. I think it's going to be a balancing act, and you will need to test it and try it out and see what works for your community. I think anything over 3 days is probably too long unless you are promoting a massive event that is outside of the usual. I think 3 days is the absolute longest that you want to do it. I tend to do over on my Fiberific channel, I set it up about 12 hours beforehand, or 12 to 18 hours beforehand. And then here I try to set it up. I try to set it up before Doug sets his stream up so that, I can get my little thumbnail in his promo. And is that self-serving? Absolutely it's self-serving, but we take the advantages where we can. Yeah. Oh my, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Holly, it's good to see you. Back to Retro Review as a new subscriber. Thank you for jumping in. Appreciate you joining me today. Okay, so one of the other advantages, which you can see by some of the things that we've just done, one of the other advantages of scheduling your live stream, creating your thumbnail, knowing your topic in advance. Now, this has no real bearing on your audience, but this can make a difference for you. If you know what it is you're going to be live streaming about, you can create your graphics, you can create overlays, you can create conversational points. And depending on the kind of streams that you run, I could have had little things sort of dropping here as I made each point. And I think they can work really, really well. And that's something I do want to get to further down the track as I get more comfortable with this topic. I've been streaming for a really long time. Like, I think I was having to write it down the other week, and I think it's 8 years I've been streaming for. But teaching streaming on a live streaming channel is newer for me, and I'm still finding my feet on it. And I do jump between softwares. So right now I'm streaming on Ecamm. So I've been over on StreamYard, and there's different functionality for the different streams. So what I've been trying to do is try and keep it so that I can have a similar look no matter which streaming software I'm using. So if I wanted to do something like dropping conversational points, that's much harder over on something like StreamYard. I need to drop those as, upload them as graphics with each one as a graphic and remove one and add the next, or actually, I can probably just drop them over the top of each other. But they have to be individual images. There's no way to do alpha layering over on StreamYard. Whereas here on Ecamm, I could have each individual one ready, tested, set to go. And so depending on the software that you're using, the more things that you can do. So I do have like extra things set up for Ecamm because I have control of the alpha layering, which means that I can have things like this up here, and I can actually move it around. So over on StreamYard, you can only have it in the one spot. It can be uploaded in one spot, or you can create an overlay image and have it where you want in that image. But unless you've got multiple images of it in different positions, you have to leave it where it's set up. I actually kind of like it over there. I'm kind of used to it being there. So having being able to adjust and change things while you're live, I find to be super helpful. I know not everybody can get Ecamm. Ecamm is macOS only. It is not even for iPhones. It is just for macOS. So, which is why StreamYard is super useful, because it's across every sort of platform, device style. It's Windows, Mac, Android, iOS. You can use it on whatever can connect to the internet. And so there's different pluses and minuses, but being able to understand what you can do with your software so that you can, oh, hello, amazing Yep Destinations. Thank you for bringing us great information and always being positive.
Yes,
So,
it's coffee time.
The coffee song. Thank you so much, amazing Yep Destinations. I very much appreciate the coffee.
Java. Yes.
I like pressing the buttons. Let me have a look here. Yeah, Doug Hughes, I'm the same. I love both StreamYard and Ecamm. Now, I can also use OBS and Prism Live and Restream and vMix, and there's another one. Oh yeah, just straight YouTube. I can use all of these, and I have them, and I practice in them. It's been a while since I've used vMix because that's a Windows only, and I haven't booted up my computer for a little while. But it is definitely different. It's definitely, you have to understand what you're streaming with to be able to know what graphics you can make. So it's part of the preparation. So if you schedule your live stream, you know when it's going to be. You can have, even before you schedule it, so when you're making your thumbnail, you can be making any other additional graphics that you need. So while you're thinking about the title and what you want to talk about, as you're making your notes, BIM notes, as you're making your notes or your points to discuss, you can be thinking about what graphic could I use? What imagery could I use to help send that point home? And sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes like right now, it's nothing. And you don't have to do any of this stuff. These are all just optional things that you can do if you wanted to. So if this is something you're not comfortable with, or you don't want to do, or you don't think your audience would appreciate, then don't do it. But if this is something that you think that could help to make your live stream a bit more interactive, a bit more interesting, then you definitely need to have a little look at what you could do to sort of boost that a little bit. Now, if it also comes down to the kinds of streams that you're doing. So for me, this is a talking head stream. Extra graphics, extra interest, that's always a bonus. But if, say you're a gamer, you've already got massive amounts of stuff going on your screen, you probably don't need anything like that. Now, having little extra things like, you know, the graphics for when a tip comes in, or when a super chat comes in, or something like that, definitely having those around can certainly help to boost engagement. People want their name to come up on the screen, things like that, especially in the gaming industry. So you've got to think about who is your audience, what are you streaming, and what will work. Let's have a look here. There's lots of chat happening. What I still can't get is the lag between pushing the go live and when I see or hear it live on my monitor. 29 seconds was what I counted last time. Look, yeah, like especially if you're using something like StreamYard or a third-party encoder, there will be lag. And it will come down to quite a few different things. So one will be your upload speed. The other one will be how busy the server is for StreamYard and to how fast it's pushing your stream to YouTube. Then YouTube has to ingest it and push it out to the audience. So there's a lot of moving parts in creating a live stream. So I actually have the live stream window open and I don't have the audio going at all. I have the just a YouTube window for the back end. So what there's a name for it. My brain won't give it to me. It is just where you can go in and you can look at your stream health. I can't think of the name of it, but anyway, I'm in there and I just make sure it's muted. I don't even look at that. It plays no bearing on what I'm doing. What does play a bearing on what I'm doing is the delay in the chat. And so as long as you know that there is a delay in the chat, so when you ask a question, I have a drink or I do something else while I wait for the responses to come in because there is a delay. For me, it's usually more around the sort of 10-second mark, like 8 to 10 seconds, but it can be more, absolutely. So understanding that and speaking in a way, so being a little behind in the chat is actually not a bad thing because it helps the chat understands you're a little bit behind in the chat. So even if they don't understand that there is actually a physical delay, then it's definitely a way to make a better viewing experience for your audience by understanding how the system works. Let me go back up here. Yeah, that's right. Being browser-based makes StreamYard highly compatible. Absolutely, it does. Restream's another one that does the same thing. I think Prism Live is another one that is, it's not browser-based, but it is highly compatible as well. And OBS is another one. I don't know if you can do OBS on mobile, but I know you can cross-platform on it. SMA Sky says, I've done some scripting things to automate, for instance, like my like and subscribe animation and shortcut keys to toggle multiple sources at the same time. I don't know how I streamed for so long before I got my Stream Deck. I streamed for, I think, about 6 years, maybe 5 or 6 years before I got my first Stream Deck. And now I don't know how I'd stream without it. So each stream, I actually go in and set up stuff for each stream. So like I've got a button that I can press to bring that off and on. I've got a button to set up Ecamm. So it's a not just set up Ecamm, but set up for an Ecamm live stream. So I press one button, it opens Ecamm, it opens the YouTube viewing screen that I want. It opens, I don't want to press it to work. There's a list of things that it does and it moves things to exactly where I want them on both my screens. And so I can just press a button and everything just goes to where I want it. I've got a button where I press it and it activates both an image and audio. I set it up last night, but I don't have a reason to hit it just yet. But I will. It's an exciting one. It's like it's a celebration. I probably could have done it for the coffees, but I have got a coffee button for them. Let me look in the chat here. Yeah, Home Rapid Repair says when I'm live, my delay seems to be about 10 seconds. Yeah, and that seems to be about what I get as well, but each person is different. One thing that can help dealing with the delay at the beginning is to have a simple 1-minute intro. You can have an intro. I'm not a fan of intros because, I mean, I'm going to make one because I want one for the podcast listeners. So this goes into my podcast playlist and I want to be able to have that for my podcast listeners. But I don't like the 1-minute timer just for the sake of the 1-minute timer because most people want to edit that out for the replay viewers. And if you edit it out, you actually lose all of your live chat. So I'm not a fan of losing the live chat. But if you're happy to leave it in, then it's up to you. But that still won't change the delay for the chat. That chat delay happens no matter what. It's just a case of I say words, it goes to YouTube, it goes to you as the viewer, you type in your comment, and then your comment comes back to me. There just is a physical delay in all of that. Esme Sky says, I'd love a Stream Deck right now. I use hotkeys. It's not tough, but it's awesome to do it with one button. One thing I will say, if you don't want to get a physical Stream Deck, and they're not inexpensive, like they're not, to me, it was like, okay, I'm going to spend this. I think it was about $200. I'm going to spend this 200 Australian dollars. This thing better be worth it. It was worth it. But if you're an iPhone user or have an iPad, there's actually a Stream Deck app that you can get. Now, I'm just going to open up. Now, I haven't set this one up properly, so bear with me because it is, you know, it's not 100% set up. But I'm going to do this. Oh, look. That needs to, is it? Oh yeah, that's showing the whole lot. So this is the screen share of the face of my iPhone. So I actually have, there's an iPhone app by Elgato, or an iOS app by Elgato. It's only about, I think it's around the $30 odd mark. I really need to fix this. You guys can see that things are just not great in the state of Denmark. Oh, 2 audio sources. Sorry about that. Hopefully that fixed that. I appreciate you letting me know. As I said, it wasn't totally set up. I wasn't sure if I was going to need to show my phone today. The Stream Deck software is, you pay for it. I know I'm not certain if it's an annual payment or if it's a one-off payment. You would need to look into that. But it's not monthly. At least I don't think it was. Now, I was part of the beta test, so I ended up, you know, I've got it now, and I've got it both on my iPad and on my iPhone. And you can choose. So I've got the 5x5 layout, but I could have the 8x4, which is the bigger version. So I don't have to go and buy the physically bigger piece of hardware. It's right here. I can even go in and change it to the 8x8. So you can actually make it custom if you want. So you can make it enormous. So, and that one's really good. The big ones are really good on your iPads. Not so good because my little fat fingers, that's too small for my little fat fingers. But, oh yeah, and the mini on iOS is free as well. So I think, do you get 5 or 6 buttons? It is free for the mini, but if you want to be able to adjust it to the bigger sizes, so for classic, which is what I tend to keep it on my phone, so if you want the bigger sizes, you do need to pay for it. So you can you're right, I forgot that the mini was free, but if you want the bigger sizes, you can pay for the app, and it has the full functionality of the physical Stream Deck as well. So you still get all the images, you get to change it, and it actually sets it up on your computer as like in the Stream Deck software. It's set up as a separate profile. So while I have a physical Stream Deck as well as the Stream Deck on my devices, I can actually have my iPad and my phone set up on the same Stream Deck iOS app account, so I don't pay twice. And I can have them set up under like the iPad, under the phone, and under the Stream Deck. What size is that? I've got the 5x3. What is that? That is, I don't know what it's called. Anyway, the middle size. And I can actually set them, customize each individual one to show different things. So it's like having even more Stream Decks. So it's a super interesting app if it's something that you want to get. So $25 a year or $3 a month. Yeah, it's super. Yeah, it is good to use for an old phone or tablet. I've got an iPhone 7 or a 7 Plus. It's my daughter's old throwaway phone. I'm an Android girl, but I've got the old iPhone 7 Plus, and it lives at my desk with my Mac so that I can do stuff with it. So being able to have that functionality of the Stream Deck set up on multiple devices is super helpful, and it's really responsive. I mean, this phone is plugged in because I keep it plugged in, but it doesn't have to be plugged in. It just has to be on the same network. Let's have a look here. Oh, I'll look into that. I figured you out. No, the app you don't need the Stream Deck for. And you can try it and see if you enjoy using it with the free sort of 6 buttons that you get. So, and that free, like when you have your 6 buttons, you can save one of those buttons to be a page turner. I think let me just double check. I don't want to. No, maybe you can. No, the 6 buttons is just straight up 6 buttons. But when you go to the larger sizes, you can actually, one of the buttons is a page turning button, so you can create multiple pages. Can you say the name of the app one more time? I'll find the exact name of the app for you. It's called Elgato Stream Deck. I'll actually pop it in the chat. Because Elgato is one of those words that when I say it with my Australian accent, it's probably not super awesome. So yeah, so it's a look. It was one of those game changer things. I don't know how I ended up part of the beta. I just happened to be on some sort of Discord group that they were like, hey, if you want to be part of this beta, click this link, and I was just like, okay, click. But I use it all the time, both on my phone and on my Stream Deck itself. I've just got the original one where I can't unplug it. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly good. I can't change faceplates or make anything pretty. I could probably do something with my Cricut if I really wanted. I thought I had the 2 audio sources going again. The chat scrolled. Phew. There you go. Stream Deck on Android. That's right. Or as Jack Black says, Delgado. Yeah. It's one of those things. Yeah, it's like everything. It's not necessity. It's not a must-have. It's a nice-to-have. And especially if you can grab the little 6 button for free, it's a why not have it. And you can test out to see if you enjoy using those buttons. And if you start to come across a point where I was like, oh man, I wish I could have more of those buttons, you could try a year, grab a year, see how you feel about it and go from there. I think long term, if you are using it for more than a year, I would start saving to get the physical Stream Deck. There's no subscription on the physical Stream Deck. So, you pay for the actual physical device once, that is it. The software gets updated all the time. You don't have to pay for updates, anything like that. But if you get the app, it is like, I wasn't sure if it was a once off or a subscription. It's a subscription, and it sounds like you can do it monthly if you want. So maybe test it out and see if you use it, because it's the thing, like, it's so easy to go and buy all these things and then realize you never use them. And what was the point? Why do I even have this? Does anyone here in the chat have something that they thought they absolutely needed for their YouTube experience, whether it's live streaming or creating videos, that they absolutely thought they 100% had to have and then just never use it? I would love to know the answer to that. I was concerned that my Stream Deck would be that, but it is not that, because I don't just use my Stream Deck for live streaming. I use it to set up hotkeys for editing. I use it to open and close softwares, to pause, not pause. I use it to mute mics in Zoom chats. It's like, what can I use my Stream Deck for? Oh, everything. So it's just one of those things. It's just part of my regular setup. It works both on my Mac and on my Windows computer. Now, before I go too far down that, if you want the profiles to match, you need to copy and transfer the profiles across. They're not held within the devices. They are held within the software on your computer. I've just created separate profiles because I couldn't be bothered learning how to do that. Probably should learn how to do that. So definitely look into that as well if you need to plug it into multiple devices. Here we go. Yes, a lot of things bought for a specific purpose, used it once, and then never again. Oh, amazing yacht destinations. I know those feels. So I tend to be that person who will buy something because I thought I had to, never use it for the intended person. And then down the track, I'm like, oh, I could use that thing that's just sitting there collecting dust for that particular task. Gosh. Livestream consultant says, I have the Black Magic A10 Mini. I got it, but I don't need it yet. When the new room is done, it will definitely be used. Yeah, look, I don't have the A10 mini because I don't need multiple HDMI camera inputs. I do use multiple cameras, but they are webcams, so they're USB input. So I can just plug those in and I get the multiple cameras that way. But if you need multiple camera inputs, the A10 mini is a super duper piece of equipment. If that's what you need to do. How many cameras can you bring in on the A10 mini? The standard is 4? I think it's 4. And it means you don't have to go out and buy cam links for every camera. And one of the big advantages in using eCam over some of the other softwares is that you can actually you can bring Canon and Sony. I think, is it both? I think both Canon and Sony in using USB. The image is not as crispy crisp, but for streaming, that's not actually that big of an issue. You're not going to get 4K over USB. You probably get about 720 to 1080, depending on what you're doing and depending on the camera and the cord that you're using. I personally am a HDMI girl, but if you don't have that option, if you straight up don't have the option to have an HDMI out, or my cam link dies, because that can happen. You could unplug it to move things around and then go to plug it back in and it no longer works. I mean, I don't know who that's happened to recently, but things happen. And so having backups, like we had a whole live stream about backups for your backups, having backup options for your cameras as well. Oh yeah, so it does. It has the four HDMI camera inputs, but you can daisy chain multiple ATEMs together to get as many as you need. You can also buy an ATEM Extreme, which will get you 8 inputs off the top of my head. So if you do need multiples, you could probably upgrade to the Extreme, add your ATEM Mini to your Extreme, and go that way, go the backwards way. Yeah, so, and understanding that whether things can daisy chain or not, because not everything can daisy chain. So daisy chaining is where you plug, like, say you've got a hub that you've plugged into your computer, and then but your hub only has a certain number of inputs and you need more, so you need to plug another hub into the hub to go into the. Not all hubs can do that. Some can, some can't. So understanding your equipment can totally help with that. All right. I'm just having a look at my notes here, and I think I've pretty much gone over just about everything I wanted to cover. So yeah, so we talked about, you know, when you're preparing and you make your live stream, you can be making additional overlays, you can make any extra graphics. For me, one of the things that I now have to remember to do is to update my my Buy Me a Coffee support page. Yeah, so this page. So I need to, like, when there's new members, I need to update it in, and then when someone joins the whole bean level, I want to add that in, but there's no point putting that in there now. I mean, I probably could. That might be some FOMO for somebody who wants to be the first one, but, you know, making sure that it's updated every week, because I don't want to miss one of these amazing people who have decided to support me. So it's on my list. So when I go to make as a thumbnail, I also go through and double check my Buy Me a Coffee account, make sure I haven't missed anybody. If somebody new is there, I actually cut and paste so I don't misspell anything. That's happened. That has happened. I put someone's name up on a thing and it totally changed how I said their name. They were not impressed. Let me just say that, not impressed. They didn't cancel their membership. Thank goodness. That was back when I was doing Patreon over on the Fiberific channel. So having that list of things that you go in and check. And so when you pre-schedule a stream and you need to make a thumbnail each time, you can also go in and check these other things. It's like a little kick for your brain to go, don't forget to do this other thing. Now, and the other advantage to pre-scheduling or scheduling your live stream, having the thumbnail, having a title, your audience knows what to expect. Your audience knows what they're coming into, or at least a rough idea of what they're coming into. And just like anything on YouTube, having people come in and bounce out, not always awesome. So making it so that you can deliver on the expectations or the promises made by your thumbnail and by your title can make a difference as to whether to make or break, and not just your live stream, but your live stream replay as well. So, do we have any questions? I mean, I try to answer questions as we go through, but if you have any other questions about scheduling or live streaming or YouTube in general, like drop them in the chat. I may not know the answers. I don't know the answers to everything. But I might be able to point you in the direction of the answer, or I can look it up for next time. But yeah, I'm going to drink some tea. Woot woot. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I do have a new water bottle. It is also a Yeti. It's just water. I'm very happy with it. I've drunk so much water over the last 10 days. Because, you know, I now have a new water bottle that keeps my water just how I like it. Maybe not, but Doug does. I'm not quite sure I get it. Uh-oh. If Doug has questions, I may not be able to answer them. Let me just check on here. We have now gone to 17 degrees, just so you know, it's definitely warming up. So, let's have a look here. Craig Grow, you're over on LinkedIn. I didn't know you were there. I'm so sorry. The LinkedIn comments aren't coming into StreamYard, I don't think. No, they're not. I'm so sorry. That is, I know that with StreamYard, that LinkedIn comments are not coming through to Ecamm. I know with StreamYard you don't get them all, but I normally get one at least. Kelly Pole has jumped in. I came in a bit late, so you might have covered this already. What about countdowns before the live stream starts? As in, like, I click go live and it gives like a 30-second or a 1-minute countdown. They're not my favorite just because of the replay. If they're a bit short, that's fine. You can do a little bit short, and that should totally work. But if you make it, like, I've seen streamers who have a 10-minute countdown, and I'm not there for that. I'm like, they're live. Oh, no, they're not. If the second they've got a 10-minute countdown timer, to me, that is a view time grab. And I'm not there for a view time grab, or a watch time grab. So I'm out. And that also means that they're going to trim that off, which means that in the replay, there'll be no comments. Actually, I just need to just double check something here. Oh, good. Phew. I just had this thought that I did not have replay comments checked. So yeah, I don't mind a short countdown, and especially if your countdown is showing information, and it's not just because I used to do just a 30-second countdown clock, to be like, I'll be live in 30 seconds, and it was just the numbers. But I think if it's showing some information or a graphic or something fun, something to get people built up. Doug, I actually like Doug's. Doug says I don't mind a short countdown timer. I use one. Doug has some music pumping, getting the intention going. It's got a little countdown timer. The advantage of a countdown timer for a streamer is you can click go live and go and quickly double check all your socials are out. But it really depends. So if you make it too long, it's going to be problematic. But if it's short and fun, so even if you're there and you can bring comments up, like those comments that drop before a stream starts, and you can start having those pop up, like the hellos, and that's a way to make it interactive. You're still there. You may not be talking yet, but you're still there. So having a little countdown, like sub 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes maximum, depends on what you're doing, little countdown or pre-stream roll, that I can deal with. But like, so if you have a pre-stream roll, it could be like, hey, if you want to ask a question in this stream, make sure you grab the link from the chat and go and fill in that form. We'll be hitting that, you know, having something like that where it's informative and is actually advantageous to the audience. That could be a really great use of a pre-stream roll. It gives you, the streamer, the couple of minutes that you need, but it also gives something to the audience to make it useful for them. So it's definitely, it definitely helps as well. Let's have a look here. Oh, Doug has the answers if you don't. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That countdown timer is super valuable. That's awesome. Kelly does like a short 1 minute max count timer. Yep. Livestream consultant says, I like to pick a particular song, and however long it is, that's what I use. Gives me a chance to check things. Yeah, and sometimes you do need that little check. Like, I'm quite happy to come and go, can you see me? Can you hear me? Some streamers don't want to do that, and I get it. They don't want that. But for me, we're a learning channel. Crap happens. I built a new scene and forgot to mute audio from the camera of all places. So, you know, this is a learning channel, and I learn along with you as well. What about a countdown so that all the people that does get an ad sees the start of a stream? I think, look, this is the thing. At the very beginning of a stream, I try not to say anything too important, which is why I'm happy to go, can you see me? Can you hear me? Because that quite often is dropped out for the people that have an ad. So, you know, I think I look at things a little differently. Like, I say hello at the beginning of my streams. So I'm not like 1 second in, this is what we're talking about. So people who come in 5 seconds later have missed the first half of an important statement. All I'm usually doing at the beginning of a stream is saying hello, which I actually think is important, but saying hello, checking that people can see and hear me, and usually reiterating what the title of the stream is. And all of that could take 10 to 15 seconds. So that in itself is fine. So most people skip an ad after 5 seconds. So even if there's a little bit of a delay, then it can still work. But you have to work out what works for you and your audience. For me, it bothers me when there's really long pre-stream just countdown timers of like counting down from 10 minutes. It's so just, I personally think it's disrespectful of the viewer's time, but maybe their viewers like it. They're like, oh, I've got 10 minutes to get this thing finished. And then, you know, they've got it there as a 10-minute countdown timer to help them. I don't know. But you have to decide what works for you and your community. For me, I'm not a big fan of the long ones. Max 2 minutes for me. Personally, I have YouTube Premium, so I don't actually get ads. So I quite often forget that not everybody has YouTube Premium. I highly recommend that you get YouTube Premium for no other reason than YouTube Music. That's why I've got YouTube Premium. I could deal with the ads, but I wanted a music app and I didn't want to pay for Spotify and I didn't want to pay for Apple Music. So I've got the music, I get it all in one and get YouTube Music. Well, see, look, here you go. Home Rapid Repair says, like a month ago, I clicked into a live stream. They had a 15-minute timer playing. No thanks. Notify me when you're serious. Thank you for saying the words that I feel. So... But yeah, like I get it. Like you can't decide if you get served an ad or not unless you have premium. So, you know, it's definitely one thing. Oh, Doug says, live reactions update. I now have the toggle on my main channel. So when I put the video out, I actually had the toggle on all of my channels and I just assumed it had rolled out for everybody, which was pretty dumb, I have to say. And I rushed the video, not 100% happy with the video, but I rushed it out because I was so excited, because I hate those reactions so dang much that I was so happy that from a viewer level, I could just dump them. And then I learnt not everybody has it. And for some people, the heart has moved down to next to next to where the little super chat thing is, which is great. So that's still there, but it's not in the way. And then I learned that some people just had none of it. And now, so if you are a person who couldn't toggle your reactions off and on, I would keep checking, because it sounds like it's still rolling out. So definitely check to see if you can do that. So yeah. So sometimes I rush things out the gate and I shouldn't, and you know, then I regret something in the video, and you're just like, oh man, that looks so good on the computer and it looks so naff on the phone. So yeah, it happens. Oh, more tea for me. Let's have a look here. Amazing Yacht Destination says, I think a 1 minute is a great option for countdown, as they give you that time to see the stream is up and people can click the past the ad if possible. Yeah, and look, the other thing is not all ads are clickable. Like, you can't skip every ad. So now that we have the option for ads off or on, and we can't choose skippable ads only, sometimes you just straight up can't skip the ad. And I actually don't like it personally. I think you should be able to choose if your audience want non-skippable ads. I had to watch a non-skippable ad one time that was ridiculously long. I think it was 4 minutes. 4 minutes. It was so dumb, but I really wanted to watch the video, so I persevered. But yeah, it's definitely an issue. But as you don't know if they've got skippable or unskippable, I can't make, like, I don't want to make my whole audience wait if one person has served an unskippable ad, which sounds harsh, but I'm just going to have to go, you know, the full Spock on this one, and the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one. I have it on my desktop now. Did not when you put out the video. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you've got it. Yeah, so far it's desktop only. So I don't believe it's on, I haven't seen it on phone yet. I'd really like to see it go on phone as well. But I don't moderate on my phone because I can't tag. So as long as it's off my desktop, I'm okay. Andrew Can is here. Great to see you, Andrew. Thanks for jumping in. So yeah, so being able to, this is one of the other advantages of premium. I don't have to put up with 4 minute non-skippable ads. And I know that not all non-skippable ads are 4 minutes long. I know most of them are around that 30-second mark. And I did grow up in an era where you had to sit through all the ads on television and there was no options. But that era is dead and gone. It is dead and gone. I don't watch terrestrial TV anymore. I am a streaming person. Let's have a look here. Oh, the Clay Allen Chronicles. What am I missing? What's on your desktop now? So, when you're having a look at the live chat where you've typed in your comment, if you go to the top and at the right, if you're on desktop, there's 3 little dots, the little hamburger menu. Click on the hamburger menu and there is possibly an option there that says reactions, and you can toggle that off and on, and then a heart will either appear or disappear down the bottom. I personally like that heart just to go away and die. Some people love it. I don't. Obviously, due to my statement, it could just go away and die. So yeah, I have opinions. I have feelings. There's a way to get around the really long unskippable ads. Click off the video you wanted to watch and then re-click on it, and YouTube will serve you up a different ad, usually a lot shorter. Well, that is good. I just don't want it at all. So, oh, and thank you, Doug. Doug has shared a video on my tutorial on how to do it. And Kelly also, who did not have the option last Thursday, now has the option now. So that is awesome. So yeah, so maybe I just jumped the gun a little bit with the video and it hadn't rolled out for everybody yet. But there is a video on how to do it if you have the option there. I personally am so happy. And I do love that if you wanted to go into a chat and you wanted to give a reaction, you wanted to click one of the buttons. I'm just going to turn mine on so I can see what the options are, because I don't remember off the top of my head. So the heart, the laughing face, the celebratory, the shocked face. Is that a shocked face? It's like a deer in the headlamps face, or the 100%. If I wanted to go in, I can add that. I can see there's people clicking. If I wanted to go in and add that in temporarily, I can. And then I can go and toggle it off to get it out of the way. Now, if you're not a moderator, it's not usually a big deal. But if you're moderating something, it just gets in the way a little bit, you know. It's something, you know. I think streaming has gotten way too much. I prefer my black and white TV with the tin foil rabbit ears. Do you know what? We had black and white TVs growing up as kids, right? Even when colour TVs were standard. My mum and dad preferred a black and white TV watching experience. So we would still watch black and white TV up until, just trying to think when it was. I would say mid to late 80s. I'm just trying to think where I was, the last house we lived in when we had a black and white TV. Yeah, late 80s. So everyone else had colour TVs. We still had the black, and mum and dad would go hunting in secondhand stores to find another black and white. And I remember shopping with them one time, and the guy was like, "We've got this colour one for similar kind of money," and dad was like, "No, I want the black and white." And that's when I found out my parents were weird. Oh yeah, way back in my time, tin foil instead of aluminium foil. Oh my gosh. Oh yes, and getting up to change the channel or volume. No, thank you. Oh my gosh. I remember our first television that had a remote. There was so many fights. It was hilarious. And now I am the queen of the remote. The remote is mine. I love my parents too. They, like, it just made a different viewing experience. It really did. I wonder if, can I just, there we go. Let's go black and white. We'll go black and white for a bit. Just in reminiscence of my parents, we'll just go black and white for just a little bit. Now we need that audio, that old-timey audio. I'm not going to mess around with that. I need the blue lipstick to make it so that it looks like I have got red lipstick on. So yeah, we've gone old school. We've actually gone old school. I don't like the reaction icon. I cannot read the full comment on the last comment, and I have to wait until someone else comments. Me too. And so I'm so glad I can get rid of it. That's right. We've gone old school. We've gone black and white. You know, it kind of defeats the purpose of all the fancy lights that I've put in, doesn't it? Like, I've got all this beautiful color and you see none of it. Oh yeah, we need the fuzz and the white lines. So much. There's so much we could have fun with. Here we go. Let's bring some color back to the world. Yeah, fuzz and white lines. Yeah, we could have so much fun. You can have so much fun with these things. Is it the gamma? No, there's one that creates the black and white. Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be something that could create some fuzzy blurriness. Anyway, we could have fun with this all day. We really could. See, we're all just old school TV watchers who miss the days of black and white. You know, Doctor Who, black and white. They really had to work on making those aliens scary because they were black and white. They couldn't squirt green blood because we didn't know it was green unless someone went, "Oh my God, their blood is green." So, you know, as technology grows, we grow with it. We change how we speak. We change how we do things to make sure that we can communicate clearly with our audience. Let's have a look here. My dad got one of those Zenith console TVs with the Sonic Space Command remote control. We kids could mess with dad with a set of keys to change the channel. Oh my gosh. . Yeah, green blood, absolutely. You bring on the Vulcans. But yeah, so so much we could just go on with, honestly. Do we have any more questions? I mean, I could just keep playing with the color settings here. I could do that all day because that is so much fun. I didn't even realize I could do it until I could do it. Now I'm like, what else can I do? No. Oh dear. I'm like, don't touch the settings. I probably haven't brought the color back properly, but that's where it is. Oh, hot tea is good. Who here has a Yeti? I now have 3. I think I've hit peak Yetiness. So I've got my big one for my tea. I've got my smaller one that I put my coffee in, and I've got my ginormo one for my water. And I'm very happy now. I can keep everything at the temperatures I like it for the whole stream, and that makes me very happy. And I predominantly use the coffee and tea one during live streams, but I've been using the water one all of the time. Loved watching Sesame Street 3 times a day on a 19-inch black and white TV. Goodness me. I remember my daughter, like, we had a TV in our bedroom, and then when our TV in our living room was dying, we moved the dying but bigger TV into our bedroom and the little tiny one into our daughter's room. And she totally burked it because, oh my God, Mum, how am I supposed to see anything on this 27-inch TV that's at the end of her bed, right? And trying to explain to her that if you had a 19-inch TV, your whole family watched that. That went into the living room. You could have a 20-inch TV, and that was a big TV. But she didn't get it. She couldn't understand. I used to change the channel with a fork. Back in my teens, remember getting a shock one time holding the fork and reaching behind the TV to adjust the vertical hold. I'm surprised that so many of us from the 80s are still alive. Honestly, the things that we would do just like without even considering the ramifications. Like, of course, holding a fork poked into an electrical device while you jiggled something else was likely to give you an electric shock. Like, really. But now, yeah. Oh, they could get you. They could get you. The TVs would get you bad. You had to really we had one TV where you had to really want to change the channel. And to the point where my mum got an old plastic knitting needle so that we could, like, on the end of it, we could poke. It had buttons, and you had to poke the channel to change to. But if you know, so I was born in the 70s, but I was more playing in the 80s. Yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, so everybody, on that note, I'm going to call an end to our conversation. It has been so much fun. I really do hope you consider scheduling your live streams in the future, and just to see, and I'll keep an eye on upcoming streams and see how you're going. Try shooting a livestock high voltage fence with a squirt gun. Yeah, done that. that's yeah. 0 stars, do not recommend. Because it travels back into your gun that you're holding, and if your hands are wet. Anyway, especially, if you're using a good water squirty gun that keeps a continuous stream, then you're in trouble. If it's one of those ones where you got to pump squirt, different. Oh, there we go. I think I found out what a capacitor does, trying to fix the old CRT TV at the age of 14. Yeah. Well, I will see you all next time. It was so great to see some new faces, and I appreciate you bringing your friends into the streams as well. And I will catch you all this time next week. Be awesome. Have fun with live streaming, and I'll see you another time. Bye now.